Well, here it is, the Amazon Fire TV Stick. This is the HDMI dongle version of the Fire TV box, and it ships out to customers starting tomorrow, November 19th. We got ours a little bit early so that we could get an advanced look at it. So far, I like what I'm seeing. In fact, I'm starting to wonder, do I really need the Amazon Fire TV box at all? But there are sure to be some differences, just like there is between the Roku streaming stick and the Roku boxes. So let's take a closer look. Here's everything that comes in the box. There is the stick itself, of course. Not much to see here, just the USB power port on the side. The remote is very similar to the Fire TV box, except for you'll notice it's missing the little voice search and microphone button up at the top. It also comes with a pretty compact little wall power brick here for powering it if you don't have a USB port on your television. And this is the USB power cable. It's a standard 4-foot length, which is fine if you're gonna be putting it behind your TV, but if you have to reach down to a wall, that may be a little on the short side. And then there's an HDMI extender for those hard to reach HDMI inputs. This is something that Chromecast comes with, but the Roku streaming stick does not. Now, if we compare the Roku streaming stick to the Amazon Fire TV stick, you'll notice the Roku is a little bit shorter and stubbier. It's a little more stout. This is longer and more slender. It also feels a little bit more substantial, and that's probably because it's got some premium components inside. This has a dual-core processor, 1 gigabyte of RAM, and 8 gigabytes of flash storage, which greatly, at least on paper, outperforms the Roku. We'll see if that turns into a real-life benefit or not. Now, with the remotes, there's a whole lot more defined differences. Obviously, the Amazon remote is a lot more slim and trim. It also sits flat, whereas the Roku tends to wobble back and forth. And that's no small deal. I mean, you're gonna be holding these things all the time. It's hard to understand exactly why the Roku remote would be so bulky, but that's only because this guy is so trim. You will notice, however, that the Roku remote does offer some hotkeys, although an outdated one, for immediate access to certain services, whereas Amazon requires you to just navigate to the apps from within the interface. So we've just plugged in the Fire TV stick to one of our HDMI ports, and we're powering it using a USB port on the TV. And when we fire it up, we get this message. It's suggesting maybe we ought to be plugging it into the wall. We're not clear on why that is. Perhaps there's better performance if you plug it into the wall, but we can assure you this is a top-of-the-line 4K TV with more than adequate USB ports, and as you'll see, it runs just fine. Now, when you order a Fire TV stick, if you do so with your Amazon account, it's automatically going to be registered to your Amazon account. If you want to change it, you can, but that's how it's going to come out of the box. When you first get things started, you're going to be forced to watch an orientation video. You can back out of it, but you can't really skip it. It just picks up where you left off. And of course, it's going to get you indoctrinated with Amazon Prime if you aren't already. So my number one concern was that this was going to be a sluggish experience relative at least to the Fire TV box, kind of like the Roku streaming stick is. It's a little slow to react. That is definitely not the case here. If I make a change to my menu item, it moves immediately. Now, it does take a little bit longer to load the graphics than the Fire TV box, but certainly not a long period of time. I can navigate through all my options pretty quickly here. Let's see how it does opening apps. Let's pull up Netflix here. All right, so maybe a little slower than the Fire TV box, but I mean, it's so close that we're gonna actually have to measure how many seconds it was. It's certainly not a sluggish device by any stretch. I think somebody who isn't used to the streaming set-top box is gonna find this to be plenty snappy. Let's go ahead and load a TV episode. This is a Prime purchase, as it were. And of course, Amazon Prime content is going to load almost immediately. So if you're not familiar with the Fire TV ecosystem, it's built entirely around Amazon Prime. If we go to Prime Video here, we're going to see lots of options that are free to watch for Prime members. You also have the option to rent or buy movies or television. If you buy them, they live in Amazon's cloud. The same thing goes with the television shows. If you buy an entire season, it'll live in Amazon's cloud and you can play it back anytime you want. You can also build a watch list so that any new episodes of TV series that you like to watch will automatically be populated here, and you can get to them quickly. Your own video library, again, is that cloud-based storage. Anything that you buy from Amazon will live here, and you can access it from any Amazon device you want. Now, the thing that makes the Fire TV so much different than, say, the Chromecast or the Roku is its extensive amount of games. There are quite a few free games you can get here and some decent ones to purchase as well. Many of these work just fine with the remote that comes with the Fire TV box, but I would definitely recommend looking into getting the gaming controller, which adds sort of that console-style feel to the gaming experience. Bottom line is the Fire TV stick for $40 is one heck of a deal. This gets you very close to the full-on Fire TV box. I think maybe for gaming it would be a little bit better to have the box, but even with the stick, add the gaming controller for $40 and you're in business. It's also much lower profile and it's a lot more portable. You can take this thing anywhere. Take it to the hotel, take it to your buddy's house. You can literally stick this thing in your pocket and have a whole world of content at your fingertips when you get there.